I'm not on Muslim and non-Muslim now, Malas. I'm talking of pure administration. We're not concerned with Muslim, non-Muslim. The point was that the provisions that my learned friend read are provisions under 19.6, equivalent to 19.6. We hope to be in a position to ask the great representative of India, Her Majesty, to confer upon us the legal status of an independent university. To confer upon us. So this is a conferment of the legal status. It is not establishment of the university. These are two separate concepts, and it is reflected in the contemporaneous communications. Yes, kindly now, Simalas. It's very interesting. I'll just give your lordships briefly, orally, the background. The background is that when from the beginning, attempts were being made to set up, we set up the college, MEO college, and then ultimately, actually, originally we wanted to set up a university. But when the college was set up and talks were taking place of how this is to be done, we ourselves said that we want to establish a university and we'll allow supervision by the government, but we want to be independent. No interference by the government, otherwise we'll not go forward. The concept of establishment under Article 30 is different from the concept of establishment through a statute. That's a constitutional right to establish. Even Sir Syed and the association and the minority never thought of establishment in the statutory sense. And this is, I'm talking about 1872. Then on 18th November 84, this is most important. College Fund Committee to the Viceroy government expresses that we wish someday, when our endowments are richer and our schemes are completed, we hope to be in a position to ask the great representative of India, Her Majesty, to confer upon us the legal status of an independent university. To confer upon us. So this is a conferment of the legal status. It is not establishment of the university. These are two separate concepts, and it is reflected in the contemporaneous communications. And we wanted an independent, and I will show to your lordships, and I'll just presently show. So 19, third, it is clear from the correspondence and other historical material that such a college was envisioned as free of governmental interference. As such, there is no surrender at any point of the right to establish the institution that they had been envisioning. Even at the time, the founders do a distinction between government interference on the one hand and supervision and support on the other. In this context, the proposed scheme for MEO College presented by Syed is relevant. The scheme reads, I have to mention first of all that management of this institution should be perfectly free from any control of the government beyond mere supervision. So you can supervise me, but you can't control me. That's Article 30. The following passage is crucial. The best educational institutions in Europe are either entirely or next to entirely free from any control of government of the country, and this in countries where rulers belong to the nation whose education is conducted. With how much greater force does this argument hold good in the case of India, where the government is almost wholly composed of persons belonging to a nation totally different from us in language and religion and mode of thought. By saying so, I simply mean to support my argument that it is next to impossible for the British government to understand fully our wants with respect to education or to superintend it in any perfect manner. The utmost we can expect from an enlightened government is to receive what we in fact do receive from our government, encouragement and patronage. If our university is intended to give sound education, the English government, as a matter of course, will patronize such institution. And if any direct pecuniary aid is given to us, we should not be unwilling to put our university under government supervision, provided no interference is made in the management of the institution.
Which is the year?
This I'm reading is
1902.
Volume 3. I've given the.
No, it's not in the list also, it's not. Date is not.
I'll give the date.
It's 1903. Yes.
No, it's not 1903. Anyway, I'll give the date. 1870s. Anyway, so Malas, the point I'm making is this is how it was envisaged. That you will give it a status. right? But we'll be independent. Don't interfere with us. And that's why those provisions that the governor can inspect, these are all supervisions. Otherwise, there's no interference in the administration. On appointments, on admissions, on appointing teachers, on everything is controlled by the court. I'm not on Muslim and non-Muslim now, Malad. I'm talking of pure administration. And we're not concerned with Muslim, non-Muslim. The point was that the provisions that my learned friend read are provisions under 1906, equivalent to 1906. Provisions of supervision that you don't fall foul of the standards. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with establishment. And giving it legal status is the establishment under the statute. So then, Malads, then this very MAU, Malads, all was taken over. This MAO was taken over by AMU. And the same thing happened in AMU. Exactly the same. No change. Whatever government control was there in MAO, the same was there in AMU. No change. That is, we have a chart to that effect. That is chart A in 1H. Just you note that. We've said so. We've demonstrated. So, Malas, our concept of establishment was clear. That they can supervise was clear because they're going to give us aid. The same here. That's 1906. They regulated us that finally I can't. Apart from the first ordinance, if I wanted to amend it, the court could amend it, but ultimately it will have the final approval. Every ordinance in Delhi University will have the final approval of the visitor. Okay. That's not administration. There's a whole complete confusion on the concept of administration. So, Malads, so this happened. This is the background on the basis of which the university was set up. Now, Malads, let's move from 90, because there are four, so to say, milestones: 1920, 1950, 1965, and 1981. 68 and 1981. Now, these rights got frozen in 1950. Right, got frozen. If you now come to the conclusion was Basha was wrong by taking that test of fact, namely because you were incorporated, therefore you were established, therefore you did not establish the university. If that's wrong, Malas, then in 1950, I was a minority university, and that was frozen. And the same test would apply. And what is your lordships considering? What was the position in 1950?